of 808 State left now.
That's 807 members.
One of them only died there about 2 weeks ago.
Jesus.
And it's the bloke that me and Garo met last year at the concert, just before I got in a worse state than 808. Yeah, we literally met.
How did he die?
I don't know. That wasn't disclosed. But yeah, there's only one of them left now. I don't know what it takes for your man to carry on.
Man, what did he look like? He's just some lad with a fucking
they both
wireless
kinda
box.
They both had kind of keyboards.
I'm sure there was only one of them playing them. And it's just music in the background.
So hopefully it's the one that's left.
Yeah, otherwise you're fucked.
Actually, I watched a good film there, and I thought of you, Lords of Chaos. Have you seen that? About the Norwegian black metal
scene in the
early 90s.
I haven't seen it.
Macaulay Culkin's little brother, Rory. One of the other two more talented actors in the family. It's good. Jesus, fucking mash. It's
true story.
True story, yeah. Some band called Mayhem.
Mayhem, yeah. Your man's in jail.
I looked up Vard or something was his nickname. I think he's gotten out. But yes, he was in for a long time for stabbing Euronymous to death. And then the other fella who's just called Death, he killed himself just before they got famous.
They all took pictures with him and all that.
Yeah, exactly.
And put them up on the fucking cover.
Slicing his wrists on stage and then cut his own throat the next day and then blew his head off. But before
you were burning churches all the time.
Yeah, that's what your man was eventually done for, as well as killing the other lad. But your man, before he went on stage, you could see him with this bag. He's inhaling it. I thought, having a little touch of the gasoline before he goes on. No, he had a dead crow in the bag and was inhaling death. And the rest of the band was smelling. They were nearly puking. They were puking. And that lunatic was doing that before he went out on stage.
I must watch it. I searched for it a few times. I couldn't find it.
It was literally on Film 4 there.
Oh, was it?
Yeah.
So I never tried the legitimate ways.
Check it out sometime. Anyway, welcome to Junk Dilemmas, an Urban Welsh podcast. We're recording away here.
Oh, fucking deadly.
I knew I had to do it au natural because as soon as I say, right, we're recording, you just start laughing. And you've already got me in trouble once this week for laughing at an inopportune moment.
Tell what happened.
No, I'm not going to disclose what happened, Paul. Needless to say, I was laughing and I shouldn't have been laughing.
What happened?
It's just terrible. Like, what is it about laughing when you know you shouldn't?
It's better.
It's like when someone starts yawning, you have to start yawning. You can't control it, or even sneezing.
Yeah, true.
But I'm glad I got through that. I'm glad I was wearing a mask as well, because it literally tears in the eyes.
Yeah, I was about to say, I could see the tears coming down your eyes.
Oh my god. Anyway, we're here today, this evening, as we always are, this time every 7 weeks or so. And today we're going to finally talk about creation stories. James, why creation stories? Well,
why?
Because Irvine Welsh wrote the script for the screenplay, as it were.
Did he?
He did indeed. You didn't know that, did you?
I knew it had something to do with it.
Yeah, but actually, I think for quickly, the old disclosure, don't sue us, we don't know him. We like him. Please don't hurt us.
Yes, we like you, Irvine.
And we're going to swear and say bold things because that's the sort of shit he writes.
True.
And also, before we get into creation stories, let's have a bit of Welsh news. There has been a bit of news. Tonight is the big debut of Crime. You've been waiting for this one, haven't you, Jem?
Oh yeah. What's that?
You're going to need me to explain once again what Crime is, aren't you? So Crime is based on
that's the
TV show
yes.
based on his novel of the same title from, I think, 2007. Yeah, it's finally debuting tonight on BritBox. Debutting. What is BritBox, I hear you ask?
Yes, what is BritBox?
It's just for people that like Brexit, basically.
Alright.
So that's why we can't watch it.
Bastards.
No, it's supposedly not available in the Republic of Ireland yet. It's like Netflix for ITV and BBC and I think Channel 4 and Channel 5.
Alright.
But sure, look, all we have to do is hop in the car, run up across the border to the north.
Up to Lurgan.
Pick up an old VPN up there and watch it. I'm just watching in the car, you know.
Yeah, no problem. Let's we do that after this.
Yeah, just load up the car with a few Bounty bars, Toblerones, just
Lion bar.
Just the open road and the very best of Deacon Blue, and away we go. But no, we will try and find a means, wink wink, nudge nudge, of watching this.
Piracy.
Probably in about a year's time, because we're talking about watching Creation Stories since it came out in fucking March.
Well, it was out this year, was it?
Yes.
All right. I thought it was
I was fully determined that we were going to watch this, that
in
weekend.
the cinema.
Yeah. Well, I don't even know. I think there was talk for a while of it going into the cinema, but it certainly wasn't. It was on Sky Cinema.
Was it?
And you needed an L subscription to that to fucking watch it, so that's why we didn't.
Wouldn't fucking pay for that, please.
Yeah, save it now, save it.
Sorry.
Don't spoil it too much. But yeah, we're finally getting around to it. What else in Welsh news? I've heard this week that there's going to be a Trainspotting musical.
Oh, fuck's sake.
Now, I like music, James, as do you.
But not Carl's.
Yes, and I like plays, in fairness, sometimes. But I don't like the two mixed together.
No,
I don't want to hear the words of Renton and Begbie and Co. Sung. If you
Prancing around the stage.
They've really fucking stretched out with the musicals, though. I'm trying to think of some crazy examples, but the only one that's coming to mind is that Charlie Sheen musical that was in The Simpsons. But there has been some ridiculous ones. There's one coming to town soon about the fucking Mormons.
The Mormons?
Yes.
Jesus.
Not the Moomins, the
Mormons.
Mormons.
Would be a good one.
I'd might go to the Moomins, but they didn't even speak, let alone sing.
That's true.
But anyway, Trainspotting the musical, watch this space. I've also heard that they're going to adapt it into a TV series.
The musical?
Yeah, no.
The Trainspotting?
The Trainspotting book.
Right.
And I'd have my suspicions that whoever has thought this up listened to my Trainspotting movie episode, because I fucking said that. I said
I'm sure they did.
It could be adapted into a TV series and would work quite well. But anyway,
maybe you could sue them.
I'll see how I get on trying to get on the credits for that one.
No problem.
Just like I tried my best to get a Trainspotting book off your man.
Did you get that one of those shite books?
No, I didn't. No.
Oh, fuck him then.
I'm starting to lose patience.
Fuck him. He had his chance.
You could even get a free poster, which looked pretty nifty if you pre-booked the book.
Pre-book the book?
Yeah, before pre-order it.
And what's on the poster?
Yeah, it's like Renton's arm with train tracks on it. It is pretty good.
Is it definitely his arm?
Well, there's no evidence of that. Could be your man's arm. I don't care, it looks good. But I'm not even getting one of them by the sounds. Well, I'm sure I would if I paid for it, but that wasn't the point. But anyway.
That wasn't part of the deal.
Yeah, sure, good luck in your endeavours,
Yeah, fuck you. Give us a free book, will you?
Give us a book, give us a poster, for God's sake. Martin, what about your shelves? Remember that, what was it called? Adam and Paul, was it?
Yeah.
Fucking brilliant. Maybe we'll do Adam and Paul on this. That's kind of in the same ballpark. It's
pretty similar.
Drugs, heroin.
It's a bit more dark.
A little bit. Not much.
They rob a handicap lad, in fairness. They rob a handicap lad.
They do, actually, yeah.
And
that's not as dark as some of the stuff that's in there from Welsh, though. Fairness.
True, yeah.
But anyway.
Yeah, it's up there. And then they just die. Anyway, go on.
Yes, poor old Adam and Paul. We won't spoil it, but it doesn't end well.
Yeah, it's no Dallas.
So anyway, let's get on with Dallas.
We should do a Dallas one.
Jesus, can you imagine? Actually, I do have an idea for a new podcast. I'll discuss that with you afterwards. We don't want to tell the listeners anything just yet.
Spoiler alert.
All I'll say is it's nothing to do with Irvine.
Fucking doubt that.
But anyway, let's do the backstory of Creation Stories.
Let's do this.
So it is adapted from the 2013 book of the same name. Firstly, Creation Stories, I don't really like that. I think Creation would have just worked better.
Yeah, it wasn't really stories, it was just...
Well, it was his story.
Was it
made
really?
up of other people's stories.
Yeah.
But I'm imagining it's pretty faithful to his book. And looking it up, he did actually write the book. It doesn't look like it was ghostwritten. Or I couldn't see any evidence of that anyway. But in fairness, I've listened to a few interviews with Mr. McGee, and everything seems to check out with what was in the film, bar one very important, infamous scene, obviously involving Oasis, and we'll get to that.
Also, he wasn't poor when he was growing up.
Was he not?
No.
How do you know that?
I looked it up.
Did you?
Yeah.
He didn't look terribly poor in the film though either.
But he used to go to America for 5 weeks in the summer and all this shit.
Really?
And his outlet gave him the money to start the business. So he wasn't...
he didn't have the estranged relationship with his dad that the film suggested.
I'm not sure about that, but he was rich, he wasn't poor.
Okay, I didn't know that now. You didn't mention that in any of the YouTube videos.
Damn, he did not.
Bloody imposter, Alan. But yeah, the executive producer is none other than Danny Boyle. I have no evidence either that Welch and McGee were terribly close, even after their success, even though obviously they had similar backgrounds, as you say, although but this house with McGee had more money than Irvine Welch growing up.
As much money as Debbie McGee, the fucker.
Yeah, geez, I didn't look into that. Maybe he is related to her. Maybe that's where the money comes from. But they certainly have a mutual friend in Bobby Gillespie from Primal Scream. We've mentioned Bobby before on this podcast. So Primal Scream obviously have songs connected to Trainspotting and The Acid House. But I don't know how aware McGee was of Irvine Welch in 1995 because he didn't suggest to Oasis that they get on the old Trainspotting soundtrack. They missed that boat or train, as it were. But as I think I mentioned on the old movie episode for Trainspotting, Oasis didn't need it too much at the time anyway. Welch co-writes this with longtime collaborator Dean Cavanagh, who is...
Anything to Richie?
I'm not even trying to think who Richie Cavanagh... Oh yeah, Romantic Loves. Oh no, that's Michael Jackson.
They both are similar.
They do. But
slightly different stature.
In fairness to Richie Cavanagh, he's had no charges brought against him.
No.
But yes, indeed. But Mr. Cavanagh has previously worked with Welch on the film Wedding Bells, which we've yet to get to.
Ooh.
But that does have strong Welsh connections as well because it stars Gary McCormack, Larry.
Larry gets around. From The Exploited.
The Exploited, yeah. Michelle Gomez, who was pregnant Katrina from the same story. And Shauna McDermott, I've said it again. It's McDonald. Shauna McDonald, who...
is a woman.
She is a woman. She's in Filth. That's what it is. I think she has an uncredited credit on The Acid House as well, if you get me.
I don't.
And there's one other woman that I mentioned here in this film who's also uncredited from The Acid House. But we get to her. Yeah, they co-wrote that. They co-wrote a short story film called Dose. Haven't seen that yet.
No.
Maybe it's on YouTube. And they did the play Babylon Heights. I have heard of that. It sounds pretty crazy. It's something to do with the Wizard of Oz, if you can imagine that. And he's the co-writer of the much anticipated show Crime, which you cannot wait to see. And
I'm on the edge of my seat.
You haven't shut up talking about it since you first heard
Since
it.
its inception.
Indeed. The director of this film is Nick Moran, or Nick Moran as he probably pronounces it over that neck of the woods.
Possibly.
He's previously directed a couple of other films entitled The Kid and Telstar. I haven't seen either of them.
Oh, I thought that was the one film.
No, it's two different films. Right. The Kid and Telstar sounds like some sort of wacky sci-fi adventure for children.
Yeah.
But no, he's probably more famous for playing Eddie in Lock, Stock and Two Smoking Barrels.
Which one's he?
Basically, he's not Jason Statham or Dexter Fletcher or the other bloke who's also in this film. He's the other fella. You'd know him if you'd seen him.
I know.
You did see him in this film, but he was dressed up as Malcolm McLaren, so you probably didn't recognise him.
Yes.
But he was also in Harry Potter. Don't remember him. Didn't really watch Harry Potter's.
Dumbledore, was he? Dumbledore.
No, Dumbledore. Dumbledore. He was also in an episode of Grange Hill, which caught my eye. He played Gunman. I'm hoping that was just his nickname in school and not the fact that he was a gunman in a school. I don't remember that particular
there wasn't too
episode.
many school shootings back then.
No.
There is now, clearly.
Danny Kendall died, but he wasn't shot. He just dropped dead in Mr. Bronson's car.
Yeah, what was Bronson?
I say dropped dead. He was lying down when it happened.
Yeah, I'd say he was. What was Bronson up to? Dirty bastard.
And don't be besmirching the good name of Mr. Bronson.
Right, he's probably dead, is he?
Yeah, I believe he is dead. Yeah.
Nice,
he was also in Empire Strikes Back. Do you remember? No. Can't remember his name now. He also played Hitler in Indiana Jones and The Last Crusade. But anyway, he's not in this.
Right, he's dead anyway.
Yep. Ewan McGregor was first suggested by the production company to play this role.
Fuck.
But indeed, but even Alan McGee said he's too good looking to play
In
me.
fairness, did you see the pictures of McGee and it's like, oh my Jesus.
So I didn't catch what the budget was in this film. I don't think it was as bad as The Acid House, but it still wasn't great. You know, it did look like a TV movie.
No, that's it. Yeah, it was a proper film. That's the problem with it.
Yeah, but it did. It grossed in the box office just shy of 60 million, so it did alright. Not bad for an old Sky Cinema release, as I say. You having trouble with the old fridge there?
Struggling with the fridge. Fucking hell.
So yeah, I think that's all we have for the backstory. Gemma, do you have anything else to add?
No.
Thanks. Let's move on to the cast. I haven't done a cast rundown in a while, but I thought I would for this one because there's so fucking many people in it.
There's a lot of people.
I knew if I started just talking about them in the breakdown that I'd just lose track. So we'll just run down through them quickly.
Yes, we shall.
Obviously, in the lead role we have Ewan Bremner playing Alan McGee. I mean, he's brilliant. You know, he's always good in stuff, Spud.
He's very good.
Obviously, his most famous role would be in Alien vs Predator. But yeah, he was in a couple of other films as well. I can't remember, Trainspotting, Acid House, something like that. But I mean, he's good in this. He looks the part, and he's brilliant with what he's given. But like, he's 50 years old. And at one stage, he's playing Alan McGee at about 24.
Yeah, but did you see Alan McGee at 24? He looked about 70.
Oh dear, we've burnt down any probability of getting an endorsement from the man himself now. Remind me not to tag him on anything when this comes out.
He might like it, you never know.
You never know, but you admire your honesty. Leo Flanagan plays young Alan. He was alright. I looked up, he hasn't been in he's been in a few things. He's in Doctor Who, but nothing that stood out to me. But yeah, he was fine. I mean, the thing about this is we didn't see young Alan McGee in real life on TV, so we don't know whether he got him right or not.
I can't imagine that he looked similar to young Alan.
Richard Jobson played the father, John McGee.
He played him brilliant.
He was fucking brilliant.
He was very good. He was the best thing in it.
He's the VIP of the film for my money indeed. And he is also the lead singer of The Skids.
Oh, sure, we know him well.
Yeah. I like a couple of their tunes, it has to be said. He's a writer and director in his own right, although nothing of note.
He's a massive head.
Well, I thought he looked like a game show host on steroids. The best way to describe him. He's a big man.
He's a big unit, but his head was massive.
And not
spherical at all.
Not made any smaller by that obvious wig he was wearing for the film. It was like that wig that old Snake from The Simpsons had. Well, it was Homer that had it, but it was Snake's hair, wasn't it?
Yeah.
But yeah, he's a big fucker now. He's quite intimidating, but comical at the same time. We'll get to some of his comic deliveries. But yeah, he's quite good. John McGee was the character's name. Richard Jobson is the man himself. Kieran Lawless played a young Bobby Gillespie.
Young Bob.
Again, I mean, I know Bobby Gillespie, not personally. But I don't know what he was like when he was a kid.
Do you know Bobby Smith?
No.
Alright.
But I mean, they got the hair right, I suppose. I didn't take down who played older Bobby Gillespie. Could have been the same bloke for all I know.
Probably it was just some black. He wasn't in it. She was only in it for.
He was in it for when Screamadelica came out, and he was in a couple of scenes. But one thing I noticed was they had kind of young versions of people, but it would then Alan McGee was just hanging around with all of them. Like, so all the rest of the cast that we're gonna name off here are all kind of in their fucking mid-20s, and 50-year-old Ewan Bremner is just in the middle of them. But as you say, he was cast for that reason. Who else we got? Suki Waterhouse played Gemma, the reporter. You know, this woman that he's constantly talking to.
She didn't look like a Suki.
I thought I knew the name Suki Waterhouse, but when I looked her up, I didn't recognise fucking anything that she'd been in except Pride and Prejudice and Zombies, which I haven't seen.
It's the same film.
It's all in one film.
Alright. Good. I'd say that's not bad actually. Probably very good.
I'd say it's fucking terrible. But anyway, you fill your boots, go home and watch that after this. First of our Irish entries here, Shauna Kerslake played his first girlfriend, Yvonne, his young girlfriend. I recognise her from a good few Irish productions. She was in a decent film called A Date for Mad Mary, which I've seen.
Yeah,
she's in a good Irish horror film called A Hole in the Ground. And she was in a terrible Irish film called Dublin Old School. Have you seen that?
No, I have not.
It's about this lad who's about our age, still doing yokes and hanging around DJ boxes, you know, obviously before COVID. And no, I just didn't like it. You'd know your man that was in the lead for that film. He's one of these kind of Dublin city poets, you know. He puts up all these kind of half poem, half raps about unemployment and stuff like that.
Yeah, I know that. She was in a series as well.
Yeah, she was in the thing there only a while ago with your man that does the ham ads.
Yeah.
You know, the Board Beale fella.
Oh, I thought it was Brady's ham. No,
the other fucker.
Yeah.
The real serious fella.
Yeah.
But yeah, she's decent in fairness to her. Next up, playing Joe Foster, aka Slaughter Joe, is Michael Sosha. So this is a difficult one for me because I actually like this guy. He was in This Is England. He was Harvey in This Is England.
Which one is he?
Harvey. So in the film he was the bully. But then for the TV show he'd just inexplicably been inducted in the actual gang, which I suppose happens in real life, doesn't it? What have you done with the fucking bottle opener?
It's here.
You don't even need it, you're drinking out of cans.
I'm eating it.
But yeah, Michael Soka, he's in This Is England, he's really good. He's in a show called The Aliens, which was on Channel 4. It only ran for, I think it might run for 2 series. It was actually really good. They were aliens, but they didn't look like aliens, they just looked like people. But it was more to do with kind of, you know, was it like a metaphor on real life, if you get me, James, about segregation and racism and stuff like that.
Against aliens.
Yeah.
Bastards.
But it was cancelled.
What?
Yeah, unfortunately it was cancelled after, I think, 1 series, which I was disappointed. That was another idea I had for a podcast, was to review cancelled shows. I thought that was a good idea, but when I looked into it, somebody already does that, so I forgot about
just
that.
do it better.
Yeah, I guess so. I'd have better shows. Yeah, no, when I looked up the shows that they looked up that were cancelled, they weren't great ones. Not the ones that I was thinking of anyway. But yeah, he's not great in this. I think he's a bit fucking annoying.
Sacha.
The character, Slaughter Joe. So he's in this, we'll get to it in the scene, but he's in this band of television personalities that befriend Alan McGee. And I just, and I don't know who to blame it on. I don't think it was necessarily his performance. Other than that, are we blaming Irvine Welsh for the way he was written?
Yes.
Or are we blaming the real bloke who was like this in real life? We possibly will never know.
We'll never know.
Slaughter Joe is an artist in his own right. He has songs out there. Would be out to write home about, in my view, but I don't know what he was like. I haven't seen any interviews with him. But anyway, moving on. And we haven't gotten away from This Is England because it's Thomas Turgoose.
It's quite the name.
Playing Dick Green. This is a good character.
Why is this Dick Green?
I don't know.
Right.
Spending too long in the slaughterhouse with Joe. But Thomas Turgoose is the young lad from This Is England.
Little pudgy.
I can't remember his name now, but really recognisable, really brilliant in This Is England. Sean, exactly. Brilliant in This Is England. And I think he's really good in this, in fairness, playing this kind of real...
He's one of the better ones in it. Yeah, he's not as annoying as a lot.
No, he's not. He's a real fish out of water in this gang. You know, he's real by the book, you know, unassuming, almost a nerd. But he's doing all the drugs and he has some good lines in it, in fairness. I seen him in another film actually not too long ago on Film 4 called The Scouting Book for Boys, which sounds a bit dodgy, but it's not. It's actually like or the Scoutmaster out of The Simpsons. That's it, boys. Don't be afraid to use your nails. But no, it's good. It starts off as a kind of warm coming of age story that doesn't end well, and I that's all I'll tell you.
After he comes.
No,
of age.
I'm not going to elaborate on that. Yes, it comes of it. No, he's still young when it finishes, in fairness. Next up, I have here playing the pub landlord in that dive that the television personalities invaded. Did you recognise him?
Can't remember.
Well, I'll tell you. It was none other than Paul Gallagher, the brother.
The brother.
The lesser known brother.
Making his acting debut.
How famous were Oasis that we knew about this fucking brother at the time?
They're pretty famous already.
Yeah.
Although we got his mushy in a fair bit.
I did. Yeah, he really wanted
around a bit.
I'm surprised he didn't
form a band or
playing a fucking xylophone or something. Yeah, I think I remember him. He did something with Terry Christian from The Word as well. It was probably
The Word.
That was probably a book about Oasis.
Yeah.
But yeah, he's in there. He doesn't have any lines, but I recognised his face for definite. Next up, playing the last of those kind of three guys from that band that ended up performing Creation Records, Ed Ball. He's played by Mel Rado. Didn't recognise the name. Didn't recognise anything he was in except that film about the craze that Tom Hardy did there recently, Legend. But he's alright. He's not as annoying as Slaughter Joe, but he has a couple of decent lines. But that's them. Playing Barbara McGee, Debbie's sister.
I'm Debbie McGee!
And that's magic. He was playing Whizbit. No, Barbara McGee was Alan's mother. He's
married to Jimmy.
She's played here by Siobhan Redmond, and wait for it, I had to look through the whole fucking cast. I had to look through to get this gem, but guess what she was in?
Taggart.
Yes.
Of course, she's fucking.
Our representative. Well, we've two actually, but she was the one that stuck out for me. She was in a few episodes, in fairness to her. So that's her. Stephen Burkoff plays Alistair Crowley in the kind of what the fuck moment in the film. Were you aware of Alistair Crowley before this?
No.
Remember when you went into the Jackson, had this kind of hallucination that this bald black and white man was behind him?
Yeah.
So this was a real man from the turn of the 19th century, Alistair Crowley. He was an occultist and an alchemist, bit of a creepy bastard. Looking up the pictures of him. He seems to be a bit of a legendary figure to certain people. Easy for you to say. I was going to say Satanist, but I don't know if he was a Satanist. He was definitely an occultist, though.
Well, it's
into some weird shit.
It's got sort of hand in hand.
But he did write some books that some people seem to like.
People love books.
Probably people like Marilyn Manson, though, if you get me. But apparently Alan McGee liked him as well, or at least started having him appear to him in bathrooms when he was off his tits. But your man Stephen Burkoff, I recognise his face. He was Victor Maitland in Beverly Hills Cop. Remember that? Yeah. The man that had a Shripper Simplex tan. And he liked his drinks with the lemon twist. He was also an octopussy. We know you're listening, Mossy.
Dr. Nout.
Dr. Nay. Paul Kay was in this, playing Mitch, the record executive, whatever. The fella that gets bummed, basically.
Yeah, he does.
I love Paul Kay. Seen him most recently in that old Afterlife with Ricky Gervais. And he's really fucking good in it. Thoros of Myr in Game of Thrones as well, of course. And Dennis Pennis. But he's in fucking everything.
Dennis Pennis was his finest hour.
Possibly so, but he's in fucking everything. Any British film, I think they run it by him first. Susan McGee, yet another of the McGees, presumed as one of the sisters. She was played by Kirsty Mitchell. She's the girl that has an uncredited role in The Acid House, but hey, we'll stick her in there in connecting lines even. Next up, Jason Fleming. Don't say it. No relation to Ray.
Okay.
He played the promoter in the club, the King Tut's Wawa Hut that Oasis first appeared in.
Right.
So he's the other bloke that was in Lockstock. And I've seen him in fucking lots of things. Very recognisable. The Gallagher brothers then, played by pretty much nobodies. Leo Harvey Elridge played Liam. Kind of looked the part.
Yeah, sort of.
Looked decent enough when he was up singing. I don't know what the story was. They must have played a real backtrack of Oasis for the singing and the music. Otherwise they got it spot on. But
otherwise they got talent.
Yeah, he didn't have much to work with here, but he did it okay. There's one funny scene where he's talking shite to Alan McGee at some part when Alan McGee's sober. But the other guy, James McClelland, I thought played Noel quite well and looked the part, in fairness to him. Played him subtly, which I like. I like subtle, and there wasn't much fucking subtle in this film, let's be honest.
No, it wasn't.
But we'll see what happens with those two young lads.
Fuck all, I'd say.
Hey, you don't know. We could be talking about the next Billy Elliot, James Bond, who knows?
Frank Bruno.
Who else? Jason Isaacs played Ralph. So this was this really fucking pompous record executive that he hooked up with for about 10 minutes in LA in the later part of the film.
Him, your man. That was
just weird. This film was too long for definite.
Yeah.
It was an hour and 45 fucking minutes, and it was definitely 10 minutes too long with this crack. But this guy, Jason Isaacs, I mean, he was in Harry Potter. He was in Taggart, in fairness to him, so nice to mention him.
It's a thumbs up.
He's been in a few things as well. He was your man, fucking Malfoy's dad in Harry Potter. Yeah, him. Maurice is played by Danny John Jules. That's Cat from Red Dwarf. Remember, he's in their fucking wheelchair in the crack den.
Yeah.
In this ridiculous fucking...
That was the cat,
That was the cat, yeah.
Fucking hell. He's not looking well in this.
They fucking airlifted him in for that.
Jesus Christ.
Director Nick Moran played Malcolm McLaren, as I mentioned. I think he pretty much got him spot on, in fairness to him. He did more with his little role acting here than he kind of did with the whole direction of the film, in my view, but we'll speak on that. Comedian Ed Byrne, Ireland's own Ed Byrne, played Labour Party politician Alistair Campbell. Pretty decent, in fairness.
Who was your man who played fucking Tony Blair?
Oh my god.
Oh, the gnashers on him. Holy fuck.
James Payton. Yeah, he is fucking ridiculous looking.
The teeth. Mother of God.
Oh, he was good though.
Yeah.
And then Peter Mandelson, Mandy, as he was called in the film, was played by someone called Joseph Milson. He was pretty decent as well. They were all pretty funny, in fairness. Another Irish girl, Charlie Murphy, played Kate Holmes, who's the wife of Alan McGee. She's the one that gets creeped out by a man who I'm about to introduce her. But Charlie Murphy, she was in Love Hate. She was Siobhan in Love Hate. She's in a lot of stuff. She's very talented, in fairness to her. And yes, the last but not least, Alistair McGowan playing Jimmy Savile.
That's a comedian.
Yeah, he's the old impressionist bloke.
Yes.
In fairness, he was fucking everywhere about 20 years ago. He was on all the panel shows, turning up everywhere. And do you ever notice with these impressionists, as soon as they come on screen, they start impersonating people. It's like, we know what your talent is. Fair enough. You're not going to tell any jokes. You have to straight away start impersonating fuckers. But he was fucking all over the shop. And obviously, Steve Coogan is going to be playing Jimmy Savile more in depth soon. Some people are saying it'll be the end of his career.
It's not a great move.
Sure. Why not? There's been numerous people who've played Hitler, Fred West,
do with Emma Grant,
Ted Bundy.
To fucking Savile.
Do you reckon?
There.
Hitler's grand.
Compared to Jimmy Savile, I'm going to say yes.
They're both not great. My point is, if you're a normal person and you're just acting, playing them, you can still recover from that.
Let's hope so.
As long as he doesn't do a Daniel Day-Lewis on it and really get into the part.
Well, that's what I'd be worried about.
Found in mortuaries and whatnot. Watch this space. But in fairness to Alistair McGowan, he played Jimmy Savile very well. It brought a tear to my eye, so it did, to see him reenacted on the screen. But that's the cast. Let's discuss how they got on in the breakdown. Comes up at the start. This is a true story, but some of the names have been changed to protect the guilty. Did you catch that?
I did.
So we got it's weird, we get a montage of clips from the film that we're about to watch.
Yeah.
Did you notice that? It was why are you doing that? It's like the start of a TV show. All to the song Rocks by Primal Scream, which I do not like. I never have. I like Primal Scream, I like some of their other stuff. But I don't like Rocks. Yeah, it gets into it, and the first kind of scene that caught my eye was this nightmare that he keeps having, that he's drowning in money. Yeah. It kind of reminded me of El Renton swimming around in the jacks. But then obviously you realise that's going to be another one of these narration films where obviously Ewan Bremner's going to be discussing
himself
everything throughout it, and it's just been done to death at this stage, films like that. I know I discussed it about, obviously Trainspotting does it perfectly, Goodfellas does it really well, but there's been a lot of bad examples.
Peep Show is brilliant.
Peep Show, I suppose it is narration really. But we've seen the bad side of narration films as well.
Especially with this shit.
Well, Owl Ecstasy comes to mind.
Oh God.
The other thing that struck me straight away is this going into the first couple of scenes was we're getting this whole when they were young storyline crack that you always get in these biography films, and they're always, certainly in the British ones, like I've seen ones that came to mind. There was one called Sex and Drugs and Rock and Roll about Ian Dury.
Yeah.
And I know that went through his childhood, catching polio in the swimming pool and shit like that. There was one called Funny Cow. I don't think that was based on a true story, but it was similar kind of thing where it's about this woman trying to make it in the Yorkshire comedy circuit in the fucking 1970s, which couldn't have been easy. Maxine Peake played her well in that. But even the fucking that one about Eddie the Eagle that came out there a couple of years ago, like they all have, you know,
all the same.
The humble beginnings.
Yeah.
And obviously it gets into
they all blow up and then they all find themselves again.
Yes, exactly. So you can kind of tell straight away that that's where this is going to go.
Yep.
But as we mentioned, the stuff with the dad was quite good.
The dad was funny.
Yeah, he was. I mean, obviously you get a bit of domestic violence at one stage, but
I only gave him a clatter. It wasn't that bad.
Yeah.
If he loafed him now with that head, he would have crushed his skull.
Well, I mean, even Alan McGee himself, you know, you just kind of get on with it, don't you? And as we find out later in the film that he reconciles with the dad. So I suppose if you speak to a lot of people from, well, our generation, but certainly just before our generation, they're going to say the same kind of things, that my parents knocked me around a bit, you know, it was all for my own good kind of shit, and it's all water under the bridge, as they say. But yeah, there's some fucking funny lines now with the old when he comes in and catches him playing the tennis racket with are you wearing your fucking sister's makeup? You should be outside on the street playing football, you weak cunt. When he sees him watching the punk scene on the TV, you better not mention those sexy pistols around here. And then he's dressed as a fucking Freemason or...
Yeah, just the Freemason, yeah.
And then he's telling Alan McGee he looks ridiculous.
Dressed up in that shite.
He says as well, while he's watching the telly, that punk is American slang for homosexuals in prison.
Yeah. Is that what you are? Is that what you are?
The one thing I didn't know before this was that Alan McGee was mates with Bobby Gillespie at such a young age.
Both came from Chernobyl.
Actually, one day, your man Michael Soka, he was in that Chernobyl show there a couple of years ago.
Yeah. What do you think of that?
I thought it was pretty good, yeah.
It's mad.
It was.
Fucking hell.
The one thing, I can't remember now, were they speaking with kind of...
I did all fucking mad accents, yeah.
Because sometimes, what did I watch? That Lords of Chaos.
Yeah.
Like, it's clearly set in Norway. They're saying it's set in Norway, but they're all more or less speaking with American accents.
Yeah.
Which kind of takes out the moment a little bit. Like, I would have been much happier if they just hired Norwegian unknowns and gave it subtitles.
Speak a bit of English.
Well, just give it subtitles, I don't mind. But anyway, Bobby Gillespie and Alan McGee, they go to Tin Lizzy concert. The boys are back in town.
Boys are back in town, lads.
That was number one when I was born, actually.
Was it?
Yeah.
Fucking hell.
Which is a bit better than what was number one when my son was born. Cher, Do You Believe in Love? Or Life After Love, is it? I still have the single upstairs from, if you ever want it.
Jeez, I must find out.
You can look, Google it there. I got Aoife's as well. Hers was fucking just as bad as Kid Rock.
Oh, and yes.
Emma's was Jessie J. The money.
It's all about
fucking pure
money.
bollocks. So out the window, any chances of having any cool songs for my kids being born?
I might have something cool. Let me see.
For yourself?
When I was born.
Now we
Don't Leave Me This Way.
What? Oh, it must be the original, not the fucking communard version. You're a lot younger than I fucking thought.
That's America, I'd say.
Yeah. I mean, I'd be inclined to go with the British one because that's kind of top of the pops. But then, if you go with the Irish charts, it's going to be something that was out about 4 years at the time.
Fury or something.
Yeah. We get the cameo by Welsh then. We didn't mention Welsh in the old cast. Did you spot him?
No.
So
I don't even know what he looks like in fairness. Looks a bit like Spud.
He does a bit, I suppose. Yeah, when McGee was sent by the
Jimmy
dad,
McGee!
when he was sent by the dad to go start an apprenticeship, and these two fuckers had him up a ladder.
Oh yeah, they ram us up
the
there.
fucker with the dodgy wig, that was Irvine Welsh.
Oh, was it?
Yeah. And they spray painted his balls red.
Yeah, I mean, sure, yeah, he was caught washing them off and he thought he was...
Washing by the granny.
Yeah. Do you know what was number one when I was born?
What?
Knowing me, knowing you.
Fucking brilliant.
Brilliant.
Lovely stuff.
Lovely.
But yeah, I think the granny actually calls him a dirty wee ginger when she catches him.
Oh yeah, the granny hated him.
Yeah.
Absolutely hated him.
That was the dad's dad. No,
she was gender fluid back then.
But yeah, the whole stuff with him then gone on about, you know, the punk scene and all that. I don't know, I'd be suspect sometimes. Every fucker that talks, you know, famous rock star from the 80s, 90s, they all mention, oh, the punk scene changed my life. And I was like, some of these had to have been into the fucking Bay City Rollers and Alvin Stardust. You know, these weren't all...
Punk scene was only around for about 2 years.
Not even that, if you think about it. But yeah, anyway, in fairness to Alan, he does know a lot about music and he got involved in the scene from an early age, so we'll take him on his word here. But the story then starts to split down between him and kind of modern times, or at least modern at the time he was doing these interviews in the 90s. So it's him in LA doing drugs, starting these interviews with this girl Gemma, you know, Suki, and it started moving back and forward too much for me.
Just fucking shite.
And it needed to be more subtle. Like, they were spelling out everything for us.
They put too much into it. The film was too long, but there was like, they didn't flesh out decent storylines. They just clips of this and clips of that.
Yeah, little snippets that lasted in some cases less than a minute for some scenes.
Even the important stuff you got, like...
Yeah, it just came across real cheesy because you're naming off everyone. Like, they keep name dropping people, and fair enough for a complete novice who knows nothing about fucking Adam McGee. It was like they were literally spilling it out for somebody that knew nothing about him and knew nothing about the fucking music scene. You know,
or music in general.
You might know this, but punk was very big in the late 70s.
And Alan liked it. Yeah, it was fucking...
Yeah. We get his first band then, and they did like this when they had their first gig. We're called the Laughing Apple, and nobody knows why. And I actually didn't mind the song they did.
It was grand until the drummer cleared over. I know the drummer was good.
Yeah, and I didn't even mind fucking McGee singing in fairness.
Yeah.
You've heard worse.
Fucking right.
But, you know, he decides to get into promoting bands then, and I did like when they were at the dinner table and he mentions this, and the dad goes, oh yeah, like Brian Epstein. Well, he was a big Jesse as well. But then he has this gig, and these lads, the television personalities, fucking, well, I say invade, they were booked to play, but the way they just arrive and straight away jump and say, are you Alan McGee? Are you fucking Alan McGee? And oh my god, that song that they do, the part-time punks, la 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 la, and there's about 90 of them on the stage.
Seriously, like, I would have just got the bouncers to go up and crack their skulls open.
Paul Gallagher was the fucking landlord, and he could have sorted it out there, headbutting lads. But I don't know why, but I did like when the lead singer, you know, after introducing the band, then goes, this next song is the same as the last one, only louder. But then they mentioned that he got his head kicked in and had to kind of step away from, well, life really. Wasn't the same again apparently. No. And then obviously these three lads ended up kind of, well, not forming their own band, they just kind of latched onto McGee then, and obviously Creation was created then.
As they say.
I think he got the name Creation from an old band in the 60s called The Creations, by the way.
Fascinating.
Your research didn't tell you that, huh?
Fucking did
You're
not.
accusing Alan of being a fucking...
Rich boy
with a silver spoon up his ass. Fucking Richie Rich over here. He starts working in Irish Rail.
Irish Rail. Which was strange because he was living in London.
Old British Rail. And
he moved down to London.
He did indeed. So you do, in fairness, you see a lot of parallels here with Mr. Welch, has to be said. Yeah. But let's face it, I'd say a lot of fuckers moved from Scotland down to London and everywhere else in Britain.
Yeah.
To find themselves in the...
Cheshire.
The Hollywood of England. I did like the bit where the old train horn wakes him up though, because it reminded me of, you've guessed it, Train Spotting.
Oh, I thought getting a horn.
Oh, well, that as well, obviously. We've already seen him masturbating with paint in front of his grandmother. Enough to get the blood racing. I did like this next bit. He signs the Jesus and Mary chain, and I do like them. Again, though, he runs through, or the film runs through the fucking career of Jesus and Mary chain.
In 2 seconds. Yeah. Gone.
But I did like the bit where this is possibly the only scene without Slaughter Joe that was decent, where he's doing the sound at one of their gigs, and he's after taking a bag of Pink Speed, the old pink champagne, and fucks up the sound fucking, what's it called?
Music
the sound box. Music box, yeah.
With knobs.
So yeah.
The one that's probably doing nothing and someone just always standing there pretending they're doing shit.
Well, you would imagine so, but apparently he was so bad at doing this, and I did hear McGee talking about this in an interview, that he's just so bad at sound engineering that's how Jesus and Mary Chain got this kind of feedback sound that is all over their music. But yeah, the old Pink Speed, I never did Pink Speed. I just had the original white classic Speed,
classic Lemmy Speed,
as opposed to classic Coke. I did Yellow Speed once.
Maybe someone just pissed on that.
I got it off a lad I know down in Prosperous.
Well, need I say more?
Yeah, it kind of fucked me up in fairness. I ended up
snorting a prosperous man's piss will fuck you up now, in fairness.
I ended up bordering up the kitchen window with cardboard because I didn't want the neighbours to be looking in at me.
Well,
and then
I don't think they wanted to look in at you.
And then a couple of days later I got a stomach ulcer. True story.
Tell you, prosperous piss is dangerous piss.
Now that you mention it wasn't quite the consistency of normal Speed. It was a bit too pasty for my liking, but I did still take it. But anyway,
clearly.
Bobby Gillespie, of course, was on drums for them as well, because your man fucked himself up. But any fucker could do it.
Keith?
No, don't think so. I do remember hearing that before. I think I've seen footage of Bobby Gillespie playing with Jesus and Mary Chain, actually. John Peel started playing him, of course. Psycho Candy, the album came out. I liked that funny interview that they did where they're slagging off Joy Division, even though I don't agree with them. But the way one of them just turns and starts wearing the face off this bird that was sitting there as well while the interview is going on. But this is the first time that McGee starts going on about, they're going to be bigger than you two, than you two. And he mentions that a lot. I never remember him saying that, but I do remember him mentioning U2 once in an interview when people were asking him about this whole Oasis and Blur shite. And he said, they've got the wrong band. Oasis's competition are U2 and the Beatles back catalogue. So he's probably right for, I don't know, about 2 years maybe. But again, the scenes are just fucking jumping back and forth here. So Psycho Candy came out in fucking 1985. The next scene is him sitting down with this bank manager who's obviously telling him you can't, be promoting bands out your own pocket. And then he goes, comedy's the new rock and roll anyway, Alan. Newman and Baddiel. That's your mum, that is. But like, when was
they were fucking massive.
Yeah, but when was Newman and Baddiel? 1990?
Oh yeah. No, after
91.
Fucking.
The Merry Whitehouse experience was about 91. So we've jumped 6 years here straight away. And now Ewan Bremner hasn't aged a day.
I suppose when you're an ugly fucker like that, it doesn't make age has no. You're timeless.
Well, he looks every bit of his 50 years hair with that fucking red wig on anyway. But yet he has the same girl playing his girlfriend from like 10 years previously or 15 years previously. But this is where your man Alistair Crowley appears, and it's like, what the fuck? They start all this kind of this is my destiny storyline that he keeps bringing up over and over, and everything happens down to fate. And look, I'm assuming this is in the book. I started reading the book is free online actually when I googled it.
It's never a good sign.
No, a lot of books are free online. Most of Welch's, if you look up, you'll find PDFs from them. But I assume this was in the book, him going on about fucking, his destiny all the time.
Well, if he wrote it himself, I'd say it is.
Possibly so, yeah.
He's no one to stop him saying, stop writing that shit.
But I suppose having someone like Alistair Crowley inserted here would certainly fit in with Welch's fucking style, wacky style for a plot anyway. But that was that. And you just get a series of scenes then with the label kind of dodging these bailiffs and signing new bands like Teenage Fan Club, getting money off fucking loan sharks. And I did like the bit where they start using that enterprise allowance scheme. I remember hearing so much about that at the time. Obviously didn't avail of it myself because I was too young and I didn't live in England.
That's true. There's two things that were going against you there.
This is this is then where we get that scene with Paul Kay getting buggered. Obviously, it's a kind of a hallucination that McGee is having, but obviously it's kind of
in real life.
A metaphor as well. But look, it wouldn't be an Irvine Welsh
if there wasn't
work.
Some buggery.
There wasn't some buggery, indeed. My Bloody Valentine come into it then. Do you remember them?
Sort of.
I'd forgotten all about them really until this film, but I have to say, they do have a couple of good songs.
But not enough for the whole shite.
Well, they're going on here, but
fucking greatest band
Kevin
ever.
Shields, so they're kind of half Irish as well, My Bloody Valentine. But your man Kevin Shields, he's described here as a mad genius and a sonic pioneer. So
he was a big fan of Sonic the Hedgehog.
Indeed. Well, I do like the bit where he's locked out of the recording studio and they're playing that song Only Shallow. But they literally fucking split up. That album, Loveless, they split up straight after that.
Yeah.
They got dropped by Creation for fucking spending too much money on the production of it now. It does sound unique, if you get me. But they're kind of ripping off the Cocktail Twins as well, I think. They're just fucking... But anyway, they split up for over 20 years, My Bloody Valentine. But I do remember them at the time, certainly. And then it jumps again. Well, I suppose this would kind of add up with the whole Acid House scene.
Yeah,
and again, this has kind of been done to death, hasn't it?
He walks in, what's this shite? And someone gives him a pill. Oh, I love it. Fucking deadly dancing, boys. I'm dancing like fuck. And then he's hooked. Oh, God. Fucking shite.
But this is the stuff that Welsh himself goes on about, that he had this revelation, you know, when he went to the Hacienda, and this is where he thought up this whole style of writing that he brought into, well, the Acid House mostly. Yeah, it's just been done to death in films. And I think I have this down for me kind of overall thoughts, but I'll mention it now where, you know, drugs have been around a long time now and lots of people have spoken about them, so this is nothing new and you just get nothing from. I mean, we've fucking done it ourselves, so you don't really care too much. I know we read Irvine Welsh books and he has a certain way of describing stuff which is great at times, but when you just see it in films like this, you're like, yeah, okay, we get it.
Yeah, well, you fuck off, because you know thousands of people have taken drugs. You haven't had these epiphanies of the fucking...
we have. Yeah. We've just realised that there was pure bollocks the next day or a couple of days afterwards. But I did like the description that he gives here, and again, he kind of almost implies that it was his idea, but I imagine most fuckers were doing it. We know they were, where he describes the kind of monotonous procedure that major labels would go through, where, you know, you discover a scene like Acid House, and you take it to the A&R arsehole who has to pass it on to the executive asshole and the chairman asshole and so on. Whereas he says, or McGee said, that he would just go straight to clubs, you know, and hand the CDs to the DJs, and that's how he got it out as a hit. But sure, every fucker was doing that. Every band had to do that. And you'd know yourself from fucking any of the kind of small metal bands. That's the only way they were going to get promoted. Obviously, they weren't going to the Hacienda and passing around. But, you know, every fucking DJ, most of them weren't signed at all, so they didn't even have fuckers like Alan McGee to promote them. They rob a joke as well here from that show Spaced. Remember the one with Simon Pegg? It's about 20 years ago. And there's literally a scene in that where the character, what was he called? Fucking Spanners or something like that. He's the Northern Irish fella. Michael Smiley is the actor's name. You've seen him in shit. He's in Luther. Tires, that's what he's called, not Spanners. And he's like a cyclist delivery man, but he's at raves and doing drugs all the time. And he comes into the flat and the phone starts ringing and he starts fucking dancing around to the beat of the phone. So they're robbing that in this here, where they're off their nut dancing in the cafe to the fucking washing machine.
Oh, I remember that fucking hell. It was fucking cringy.
The two builders coming in and then turning straight back around.
And the fuckers are working in the cafe saying nothing and they're dancing all over the fucking tables. And they didn't even buy anything. Just walked in, water. Start fucking dancing on the table, chase away customers, and they all just, there's the lads. Fucking hell.
They were making history, Jam.
Making shite.
It was their destiny. We see him missing a train then, and it's not the important train missing, but it kind of sets up this, Alan has a habit of missing trains.
He's a train misser.
Maybe that's the sequel That Welsh could write train missing. You're a fucking train misser. I knew it.
You fucking cunt.
I don't know why they have Cockney accents. Obviously,
all the films have Cockney accents.
This next train is the same as the last one, only louder.
And you'll miss it again, you fucking slag.
But in fairness, he did have a good reason for wanting to get on that train because his mother's died.
Yes.
And we get a couple of scenes then of him remembering how much she kind of supported him growing up.
The mother supported him. The father.
Indeed. Screenplay then becomes a massive hit for the label. I suppose, in fairness to it, there's some good songs on that. It is an important album in terms of how they mixed the whole...
The cross between acid house and rock and roll.
That's it.
And all that shit.
I don't think it was fully recognised at the time, though, how important or how decent it was. But years afterwards, there was certainly a lot of fuckers that were into it. He forms the deal with Sony then. I suppose... They don't really elaborate on the fact that it would have been classed as a bit of a sellout at the time.
Complete another sellout.
But considering they've put in these scenes of Paul Kay getting buggered and McGee making a point of not getting buggered.
But then getting buggered.
Well, he does really. But he, as he says himself, it was cash in hand or whatever, and they were on their fucking knees at that stage, even though Screamadelica had just done quite fucking well. Yes, so... The all-important missing of the train. This is the second time Alan missed the train.
Mister, they called him.
But this is a very important one. But if you miss it the first time, don't worry. It comes up quite often over the next 10 minutes.
Yes, it does.
You're reminded of it several times. But basically, he misses this train, and he rings up his sister and says, I've missed the train. You won't believe what happened, but I've missed the train.
Went, Mister, you're a fucking misser. Well, she is Scottish, so probably different.
And he says, do you want to go to this club? One of my bands, 18 Wheeler, are playing there, and we'll get there early and check out their support, because God knows who'll be there. And they do. And obviously, that's not how it actually happened. He was always going to the gig, apparently. He was always going to meet the girl from the band, the Sister Lovers, who he knew. Debbie Turner is her name.
Debbie McGee!
But in fairness, I do like they get all the detail right. Other than that, it's the real club and it's still on the go. King Tut's Wow Hut. They get the sign, which of course does not include Oasis because they weren't booked to be there. And I've actually seen that sign. I think your man Brian Cannon, he works for Microdot, who designed all the fucking Oasis covers back in the day. So he invented that logo. He did all the photos that were on all the singles, all the first albums. And he was selling that original poster that is obviously from Oasis' first gig, but doesn't actually have their name on it. So it's this crowd, what would you call it? Boyfriend was the main band, apparently.
Wow.
The fuck they were. 18 Wheeler, who were signed to McGee, to Creation, and the Sister Lovers. So they get there and you see the little kerfuffle in the lobby area.
The foyer.
Which apparently, again, wasn't quite how it happened because this girl, Debbie Turner, isn't there. And she was involved in it in real life. She's basically told the owner of the club if he didn't let Oasis play, that she wouldn't play. And obviously they couldn't go on with it, the Sister Lovers. So that's how Oasis got their few minutes to light up the world. But it's just like, it's the real club. All the detail is fine. We get this guy then.
It's done in about 30 seconds though, that's the thing.
Yeah, it's over very quickly, but it's also drawn out, if you get me, because they keep mentioning shit. Like, he starts talking to your man,
real obvious shit,
the owner, and he's like, oh, fucking hell, McGee. He says it in a Scottish accent. But,
why are we stuck in fucking London?
Just every impersonation we're going to do now is fucking Cockneys. But he goes, these cheeky bastards. They
these
need
fucking
to kick up the hole. Yeah. And then the way he says, oh, what are they called? And he goes, oh, I've never heard of them. Some shit name. Oasis. And the look they both give each other as if, oh, fucking hell. All they're sort of doing is looking at the camera and winking with their thumbs up.
Or wanking.
And just totally breaking the fucking fourth wall. But eventually he sits down, he's having a fucking drink, and the band starts playing, and he's instantly blown away. Now, I don't know how quickly it would have happened, but it happens pretty fucking quickly here.
He just steps up, walks towards him, and sort of pisses himself or something.
They get all these different camera angles of Alan McGee's reaction to Oasis playing. And
they played one song, and that was it.
Well, that's all. I think they played more than that on the night. As your man says, they get 20 minutes, which will give the DJ time to go for a shite. But
that's a good shit now,
in fairness, plenty of time to get it all out. But where was it? Yeah, like McGee's reaction is just drawn out too much. You know what I mean? And we do see him talking to Noel afterwards, who the fucking owner of the club describes as the only one with a bit of sense.
Yeah.
So again, a bit of kind of wink, wink, nudge. But that said, I did enjoy it for what it was, and I probably got a little bit of the old goosebumps just from being a fucking Oasis fan. But I don't know, it should have been done a lot more subtly. They didn't even have to fucking name Oasis. You know, as soon as you see the heads on the fuckers, you're gonna know who it is. As soon as they start singing the song, you're gonna know who it is. And obviously anyone who knows anything about fucking Alan McGee and Creation Records would know what this scene is about. But again, it's like they've made their target audience fucking grannies or something.
It's ridiculous.
What was it? Say it again. Spelling it out. And I'll cut that out.
No, you won't.
And then it just, again, like the Jesus and Mary train, it just shoots straight forward.
Gone. That was the end of them, yeah.
To fucking, what am I doing here? To the success that Oasis had. And again, you're reminded, and remember folks, if he hadn't missed that
Go
train.
Go back to the train.
Never would have happened. And you keep showing your man the fucking old lad on the train laughing at him. And it just keeps going on about trains being missed and destiny, and it's like, we fucking get it. You know what I mean? And then it jumps forward again to the current timeline. He's still being interviewed by this girl, fucking Gemma. And that's when we get into this fucking 10 minutes of him just doing drugs and hanging around with this Ponzi record executive, Ralph. And it's like,
fucking hanging around with Biggie Smalls.
Yeah, but it's not even Biggie Smalls. He's not called Biggie Smalls. No. So everyone else in the film has their real names. So this fucker, I didn't even take it down what he was called. But he had
Lucius Sweet.
What? He had a fucking ridiculous accent as well.
Oh, for fuck's sake.
We're on about fucking Cockney accents here. I don't know where he was meant to be from. He sounded like Yogi Bear or something.
It was ridiculous.
From the swamp.
And the biggest star in the place, and he was sitting at the front door, like the doorman. And he says, you go up to the VIP, I'll sit here with all the other fucking skags. Oh my God.
Like, they've rushed everything the whole film.
Yeah.
Shown the punk scene, shown every fucking major band that they signed, showed Acid House, and it was all bunched into like 2 minutes at most. And then they had this drawn out fucking section where he's just hanging around with this cunt and speaking to the Biggie Smalls impersonator. And then he nearly gets seduced by this girl who he thinks is turning into his underpants, but then, you know, it's obvious he just wants to get signed to fucking a record label. And then he wakes up in the crack den with Cat from Red Dwarf.
Screaming at him.
Dribbling in a wheelchair, kind of half doing a rap and half kind of just mumbling to himself.
I don't know what was going on. It was
like, how does the casting for that go about? How do you approach Cat from Red Dwarf and say, I have the role for you?
I've seen you in a lot of things, but this is the one that's going to make your career. Fucking hell.
But it was all very strange and utterly pipeless, to be honest with you. And then we get into the next kind of phase where he's in rehab, and again it's like, okay, we get it, this was obviously a tough time in your life, don't get me wrong, but in terms of storytelling we've seen it all before. You know what I mean? We really have. And I started reading the book, and I imagine it comes across a lot better in the book, the whole section, the whole story really. But
I don't know, it seems like he's been allowed. People have been saying he's brilliant for so long. He's just, everything he says is just waffle. He's full of himself.
Well, that was certainly probably the way he was thinking at the time.
Yeah,
you know, he was
full of himself.
Loving the smell of his own shite, no doubt, in the 90s. I mean, it's fairly fucking obvious, don't get me wrong.
Which is understandable if you're that famous and successful, but
yeah, and
it doesn't make for a good book or a good film.
No, exactly. And like, he's not even to the point where, like, he's nearly at the level of a boy band where he doesn't have to do that much. Like, he's not even in the band, but he has the kind of rock star lifestyle of the band. But yeah, he doesn't have, I'm not going to say he has no talent, because he obviously has a way of certainly spotting bands, or at least having bands fall on his lap. I mean, he must have gone to a lot of dives that we didn't see or hear about before he found Jesus and Mary Chain and Oasis and fucking My Bloody Valentine. But yeah, he basically, he ended up hit on the pig's back, and he fucking lathered himself in sauce.
In his own grease.
But yeah, we go through the rehab, and then he makes up with the dad, which I kind of raised my eyebrows at. But apparently that did happen in real life. And he started speaking to him again for the first time in 20 years or whatever, as far as I know. And it's just very strange considering what happened with the mother and with his childhood, as I say, with the domestic violence. Poor old Slaughter Joe leaves the label then.
Yeah.
But not before we got another rendition of that song.
Fucking hell.
But he did mention, Ewan Bremner mentions in the narration that he went on to marry a midget. So that was good. That's a good ending for Slaughter Joe.
And midgets.
It's good for everyone. And then we get that funny scene that I mentioned where McGee, now sober, has to go to all these parties and endure the likes of Liam Gallagher talking bollocks in his face. And in fairness to this young lad playing Liam Gallagher, he was quite good. He says this shite and then goes, "As you were, Alan," and just walks off. We get the scene then with Nick Moore, the director, playing Malcolm McLaren. So, as I say, he plays him quite well. He definitely gets him spot on, but it's more of this fucking bollocks about destiny and you need to be an alchemist.
Oh God, that fucking thing. Jeez, I was about to. I nearly turned it off after that. It was fucking.
Do you know what an alchemist is? It's a fucking cunt. You need to be a fucking cunt too. Just off.
Fuck off.
You need to stop being a train misser and be a fucking alchemist.
And a pisser as well, you fucking shit.
Oh God.
So it just dragged, and on the spur of this, he has the epiphany to start getting involved in the Labour Party.
Yeah, that was...
Now, in real life, in the late 90s when this started happening, I was like, what the fuck is this now? And then Noel Gallagher fell victim to it as well, and they mention it here. They show the scene where McGee is kind of talking him into it and that. And I was like, what was his intentions? Just to raise the profile of the band, the label? But yeah, he did. In fairness, he did kind of start pushing for this, canvassing for this movement to, have funds supplied for fucking the arts and for bands with nothing, basically. But
to the most insincere people in the world.
Like the way they went about it, like I remember that fucking, I think it's at the Brit Awards.
It was embarrassing. It was
where Noel Gallagher's going on about Tony Blair. That was shocking. And it was bad in real life, but that scene looked really fucking cheap. Like they did not look like they were at the Brit Awards with the fed-in crowd noise.
They looked like they were at the fucking Bread Awards. Johnson, Mooney and O'Brien there.
I wouldn't mind a Bread Award.
Well, in fairness, yeah. Well, if it was just regular sliced pan and batch, I'd have no time for it.
Give us a look at your bollocks, said old Mr. Brennan.
Well, in fairness, I wasn't expecting that.
But yeah, like he has, he appeared to have good intentions in getting involved in politics, but everyone knows you don't get involved in fucking politics. He got
buggered again.
He certainly did, in the worst way. Like it was like he was trying to improve the working class image of the label while canvassing for the funding for, the arts and small bands. But it's like, it was just terrible. Like when it's not in the film, obviously it shows him going to meet Tony Blair, but it doesn't show the official visit to 10 Downing Street.
Oh God.
That McGee and Noel Gallagher made.
Oh fuck.
That was fucking shocking. That was terrible. That was the beginning of the end, really.
That was.
I mean, the music side of things was starting to deteriorate as well, in fairness. But I mean, Oasis on the whole, the commercialism had gone through the roof. Every fucker in the world, this whole Cool Britannica thing. Oh my God, every fucker was into them.
That's when Noel finally climbed up to into his own
big
anus,
time.
and he hasn't come back since.
I think he's come back a little bit
No,
since.
he has not.
I've seen interviews with him about this time period saying we should have, like, even after Morning Glory, after Nebworth, they should have fucking, not knocked on the head, but they should have fucked off for about 2 years.
Yeah.
Whereas they didn't. They went more or less straight back in the studio, coked out their minds, did Be Here Now, which in fairness has some good stuff on it, but then toured that, and then it all fucking fell apart. I mean, by 99, the late 99, you know, the original lineup was fucked anyway. Now you could argue they replaced Bonehead and Quigsy with better musicians.
But they lost the soul.
They did. They certainly did. But just the whole commercialisation of it had gone through the roof. You have all these fuckers, not just in Britain and here in Ireland as well. Every cunt was into them. And then they're latching on to every other Britpop band. And then backtracking back to be into bands like the Stone Roses. And it's like, you have every scummer in the land liking these fucking bands. But anyway, it did come across quite well in a couple of one funny scene here where Alan McGee goes to the Labour Party fucking canvassing office, and this is where Ed Byrne and the other fella are playing Alistair Campbell and Peter Mandy Mandelson. And this was quite good where he's mentioned, we love the Oasis and the Blur.
They were on to Facebook.
And Alan McGee goes, Blur isn't one of my bands. And he goes, Spice Girls? And then when he starts playing that D-Ream song.
Things can only get better.
And suggests that Oasis do a cover version of it.
Could Oasis do a cover version of that?
In fairness, they weren't far off doing that. But they did stop short of that, in fairness to them. But,
Brian Cox would be turning in his grave.
Oh my God. But I remember seeing the soundtrack for this film was released or certainly advertised before the film came out, and D-Ream were on it. I was like, what the fuck is this? And I had to check, were D-Ream at some point signed to Creation Records or something? Because that wouldn't surprise me either, the way he had bands in the acid house scene. But no, it was obviously this, and I can only assume that was true. I do remember that fucking song being used by the Labour Party.
Oh, stop it. That was it, yeah. Fucking hell.
But then we get this scene at it's not 10 Downing Street, right?
Checkers.
Yes.
And the country retreat of the British PM.
Indeed.
Oh, Tony Blair's teeth. Oh my God. Spectacular.
But then this shit with Savile. So this is really where it reaches peak nudge nudge wink wink territory. Now, I've no doubt that, this did happen. I assume this is in the book, and I've no doubt that Alan McGee or anyone would have been going, I don't want to be hanging around with fucking Jimmy Savile. But not because, fair enough, he would have spotted he was a creepy bastard, I've no doubt about that. But he didn't know at the time how creepy he was.
He did know though, didn't he? That's the thing.
Well, they go on about it, and obviously we know from Irvine Welsh himself that this was supposedly the worst kept secret. But
of course he knew it. Everyone, the whole of the BBC knew about it.
Yeah, but I'm wondering, I just got the impression, I didn't get the impression from this film. This film blatantly makes out that, this is a fucking, not just a sex offender, this is a fucking man that has sex with corpses.
Which he did.
Yes, but I still think at the time people just thought, I don't want to be anywhere near this cheesy fucker. Fair enough, he's creepy.
Yeah, look at his tracksuit.
This is not the
fairness,
image.
he was wearing a shell suit.
He looked, in fairness, he did look a bit like an older Liam Gallagher. He had the hair,
he did.
The swagger, the sunglasses, the tracksuit. He acts a bit like Liam Gallagher, Jimmy Savile, doesn't he?
Well, in Edmund Hunter's Morgue. I should hope not. I like Liam Gallagher, in fairness.
So do I. But no, I just thought, I think it was more so the fact, it could have been fucking, Lionel Blair there. It could have been fucking Des O'Connor. It's like, these aren't the celebrities that I want to be associated with Creation Records. I think that was more that as opposed to, this man is clearly a sex offender who hasn't been convicted yet.
He was, but at that stage it was pretty...
Well, this is late 90s, 2000.
Yeah, sure, Louis Theroux would interview him before.
No, I think that was just after that. But all this shit didn't come out until...
It was known.
I know it was known, but I just
he would have been in the know. He would have known.
Yeah, maybe you're right. As I say,
Irvine
Welsh seemingly knew.
Yeah.
So yeah, maybe you're right, but I don't know. I just got the impression, but this film certainly latches onto that. But my point is, they wouldn't have made this film with that scene included, 15 years ago. Obviously, because Jimmy Savile would have sued them. But even if, you know what I mean, it wasn't known. So they really rely on the fact that, this was what Jimmy Savile was about. But at the time, not everyone fucking knew. I don't know. But anyway.
Well, there was a few warning signs there, in fairness.
There clearly was. But I suppose the one good thing about it is the honesty of it all. I mean, Alan McGee obviously says this in his book, and it comes across in the latter scenes of the film that he admits like this was a fucking serious mistake on my part, a serious fuck up. And you see the whole backlash after fucking Blair coming to power and his decisions with the Iraq War and fucking getting bummed by, I nearly said George Best, George Bush.
The ghost in the bush by George Best.
The ghost of George Best assaulted me. Better than the ghost of Jimmy Savile assaulted you, I suppose. But the film is wrapped up then with this final interview, and oh my god, like
she turned on him, and he sold out. Just
they run this VT, and it describes, like, as he says in it, it's a hatchet job. It's describing him as like the Britpop king who sold out to Sony and killed Creation Records, and then McGee retorts in anger with this fucking diatribe about
dribbling as well.
Yeah, how he discovered the biggest band in the world and he saved the dying British music industry. And I didn't check the facts on this, but I wouldn't argue with it now, in fairness, that CD sales went up 800% in fucking the 90s. That does make sense. But yet it was, you know, not just Oasis, it was other bands like Blur and Radiohead and that profited from that. But he does admit that he helped put the biggest cunts in the country in power. But it's really fucking cheesy. And then she starts reassuring him. It's like, you need to keep your chin up and get back on the horse. It's like, what the fuck
that's
is
your
this?
woman from Love Hate.
No, this is your one Gemma Suki. Your one from Love Hate just disappeared then. She was only in a couple of fucking scenes. It didn't even show him meeting her. This is his wife. He's still with her as far as I know. But like this scene, this speech, in fairness, is then bookended by two songs. And one is by Ride, Leave Them All Behind, and it's fucking brilliant. And that's a band that Creation Records signed. And it's it's a cracker of a song. But the next one is Oasis, Stop Crying Your Heart Out. And it just makes this cheesy dialogue all the worse.
Even cheesier.
That's not one of my favourite fucking songs. Do you need a beard? Yeah. Have that one, so.
Great stuff.
It's not one of my favourite Oasis songs by any means.
It's not bad.
But it's certainly not suited here. Apart from anything, that was recorded years after McGee was associated with them. Like that was on fucking Big Brother Records, which was basically no gala around them. Creation was dead. But they throw it in here, and I don't know, it's not a good way to end the film as far as I'm concerned. It's pretty much over then. It just shows him going home then to the da and
hugging.
Well, yeah, was the hugging at that? No, he walks in and the da has the headphones on him. He's listening to the words, singing away to fucking Wonderwall. Yeah. So the da has fully converted to his son's vision, as it were.
Yes, with his massive head.
And they play Wonderwall then, and this is obviously years after Wonderwall. And obviously they're going with kind of the most famous Oasis song, but I don't know, there's some great song choices in this, but there could have been a lot better. Considering what Creation Records had in their back catalogue. They didn't pick the best Jesus and Mary Chain songs. Didn't pick
fucking hardly any of them.
Well, they didn't pick the best Primal Scream songs. And I mean, I've no doubt that is what Oasis played in King Tut's Wah Wah Hut, but they could have played a lot more. It ends with a quote then on the screen, which I presume is from the man himself. For all the shenanigans I got up to, at the end of the day, I only truly cared about the music.
Which is just great stuff.
And that's that, Jem.
Warmed the cockles of my heart.
Jesus, it would. So, favourite bits?
Where do we start?
Look, I am going to include... I don't mind, do you want to go first?
Oh, no, I'll let you go first.
I am going to include the Oasis scene. As I say, purely for the fact that, it's the main reason that this film was fucking made. It's the main reason that anyone knows who Alan McGee is.
It's the only reason, in fairness.
Yes. Well, anyone outside of, the cool circle that was knocking about these clubs and were into bands like My Bloody Valentine or Ride at the time.
But even if you're into them bands, you wouldn't have been hanging around knowing about the...
Some people would.
Yeah.
But
dorks.
obviously, you know, for fuckers like us to know, it took the success that Oasis had to know really who Alan McGee was. But I do like the scene, as I say, for the fact of it reminds me of the real life scene, but not so much the way it was played out here. It was just fucking drawn out and no follow up then, or very little follow up. The Da is obviously great. You know.
He's my favourite bit of it, yeah.
Dick Green is quite good.
Old Dick, young Dick.
Thomas Turgoose.
Turgoosos.
The whole Labour Party scene with
Blair's
Randy.
teeth. Blair's teeth is probably my favourite bit, and they're just spectacular. They're like 3 or 4 doors in his mouth. White doors, that is.
The Doors.
Very white.
If only Creation Records had signed The Doors. And I'd say the soundtrack, yeah, it's hit and miss. They chose poorly, in my view, for a lot.
Well, there's some good bits and some.
And like that, there's so many fucking songs in it.
Yeah.
Like, and obviously you don't hear all the songs.
Yeah.
Snippets here, snippets there. Anything else on favourite bits?
No. It's short and sweet this time.
I haven't got disturbing bits. Let's call it worst bits.
Most of it.
Well, I've got the direction at times is just all over the place. Too many switching of scenes, cheesy lines by, in fairness, good actors. But
yeah, like in fairness, the actors in it are good. There's too much crammed into it, and there's not enough. Like he could have drawn out a lot of the storylines and got a proper story out of it, but he just rammed in fucking some shite for 50. Like some bits are like 30 seconds, and then it's gone, and you're just like, what the?
I mean, I had a similar complaint about that 24-Hour Party People, the film about Tony Wilson that Steve Coogan played.
Yeah.
But it was done a lot better than this. That jumped, you know, not back and forth, but jumped ahead a lot of the times. But they still had a good section about Ian Curtis and Joy Division.
Yeah.
Had a decent section with, you know, the Happy Mondays.
Well, like even 1 or 2 sections here where they had it drawn out. I don't care what band, but something, not just this flicking here and there and everywhere.
You could have nearly concentrated on one moment in time and just went with that. I mean, there was another film, I think it was called Control, and that was about Joy Division, but it concentrated just on a certain section that they didn't have a fucking long career, but a certain tour that they did, and it just concentrated on a couple of weeks in that regard, and it was obviously acted out well by a decent cast, but yeah, it's just all over the place. And obviously the saddle scene then, it's not a nice scene to watch for any reason, but as I say, it was too on the nose. There'd been a few on the nose scenes already.
Quite on the nose.
With the bands mentioned and the whole, you know, almost breaking of the fourth wall and telling you, oh, look what's happening now, folks, and look who it is. And they really reached peak, look who it is, with Jimmy Savile walking in. But as I say, I don't know, I just had me doubts that everyone was in the know about it. It's fair enough having suspicions, hearing rumours, all the rest, and certainly being creeped out by the fucker. But I just, as I say, you wouldn't have had this scene. If Alan McGee had wrote this book in 2003, not 2013, would he have mentioned Jimmy Savile? Possibly, but he would have just said, this fucking idiot Jimmy Savile was there, and I don't want to be fucking hanging around with that. I don't want to be seen hanging around with that cunt. Would he have still said, oh, this creepy bastard? I don't know. You could be right, but they certainly fucking milked it in this film, that's for sure. Yes, and moving on to connecting lines. So yeah, obviously the main connecting line is the fact that Irvine Welsh is in the film, obviously, as well as writing the screenplay. He plays this bully working in the factory. Dean Cavanagh, as you say, is his co-writer for that. Primal Scream are in the film, heavily involved in a couple of other Irvine Welsh adaptations.
Nearly them all.
Well, certainly 2. Did they have a song in Ecstasy? I know Coldplay did, inexplicably, but I don't remember if Primal Scream. I think they did. So they're just all over Welsh.
They just love Welsh. They love the Welsh.
Danny Boyle, as we say, is the executive producer of this. And obviously we know his connection with Irvine Welsh. And this girl, Kirsty Mitchell, who played one of Alan McGee's sisters, did have an uncredited role in The Acid House.
Quite the credits on this particular podcast.
Indeed. I've mentioned her a few fucking times. More than she was mentioned in that film.
I don't even know who the fuck she is.
You know.
You're a woman.
And obviously, I think we have to mention Savile himself as a Welsh connecting line, because he's mentioned in Spirit as Freddie Royal in the story. What was the story called? Lorraine Goes to Livingston. In Ecstasy.
Another connecting line is buggery.
Oh yes, indeed.
He loves buggery.
Welsh loves buggery. I'll just write that down.
Yes,
and well, you've said it now. There's no need to write it down. Maybe we'll just call the episode that.
Yes,
episode 13. Welsh loves buggery. So yeah, that's connecting lines. Let's do our overall thoughts.
Well, I didn't have to watch this. I would have turned it off soon enough. I think that's pretty much it.
Short and sweet.
They crammed too much in, and then there wasn't enough detail. There was a bit of it in the buggery scene, yeah. But they crammed too much in, and then there wasn't enough information of it in another way. So it was just, like you said, it was all over the fucking place. Yeah. I can't believe it was fucking made this year.
Yeah.
Jesus, I thought it was old.
It wasn't set in this year.
No, but I thought it was...
The nostalgia worked on you.
Because it was so, like, cliched and shit, I thought, this must have been made about fucking 10 years ago. Yeah. And then you could have given it a bit of grace, but like you said, it's been done fucking billion times, the same type of story, the same type of shit.
Yeah.
And they just ploughed ahead with it.
Indeed. I mean, I want to start by saying I do like Alan McGee. Despite what we've said here. And not that I know him or anything like that, but obviously knowing his story. And I've no doubt that it's quite memorable for him as an individual, and it's a great success story in that. But the telling of the story, whether it's a good reflection of what was in the book or not, just doesn't raise any eyebrows, and it just doesn't make it terribly interesting, as you say. Because it's a story we've heard hundreds of times before, you know, the humble beginnings, the kind of blagging your way through difficult times,
losing a run of success,
the eventual
losing
success,
a run to yourself, and then
the drugs, the rehab, the re-emergence, as you say. It's not impactful at all, and it's been done ad nauseum at this stage. And I'm sorry again to Nick Moran, but the direction at times, it's fucking manic, you know, it's all over the shop. And it's not in any way original. It's all too familiar again in British films. The main example I can think of is You in Traffic, which for me has always been a dreadful, dreadful rip-off of Trainspotting. I hated it at the time. I mean, it has fucking Danny Dyer in it, for God's sake.
He's related to the Queen of England.
Yeah. But look, that's just one example. But whether consciously or not, it comes across as a poor attempt at the style that I suppose Trainspotting did so well. And I know I harp on about fucking Trainspotting, but it's an Irvine Welsh podcast. But the narration, the multiple quick changing scenes, the cheesy lines, it just needed to be a lot more fucking subtle. They didn't even have to name half the fuckers that were in it. Anyone that knew what they were watching would know what it was.
Or if they were going to name them, just name one or two and then go into the full story. Not this fucking clip here, clip there.
Yeah, but every character was over the top, and they didn't fucking need to be, because I strongly doubt they all were that over the top in real life. McGee himself doesn't come across as that over the top in any interview I've seen. I've no doubt he fucking, jumped on the drugs train and everything else, but he didn't, as well as Bremner was playing him. I suppose he just went with what he was given here, whether it be the script or the direction. But I just have my doubts that McGee was quite like that.
His little Belarusian accent.
Indeed. Or Cockney accent.
You fucking Belarusian fucking cunt.
But that said, I did like the nostalgia that certain periods of the film brought. Obviously, namely the mid-90s. For any fan of Oasis, albeit short-lived, both in the film and in real life. Really, it was good. It did capture a moment, and obviously the bubble burst in the end for that. And that's, as I mentioned, essentially down to both the music declining, but also coincided with this little trip to fucking 10 Downing Street, and accumulated with fucking Dinner with Jimmy Savile. That's a good name for a film or a book, isn't it? Dinner with Jimmy Savile. But it was a moment in time that was special to anyone that cared about it at the fucking time, in fairness. But yeah, Bremner, he's great in it for what he's given. Thomas Turgoose is great as Dick Green. Nick Moran, the director, is spot on as Malcolm McLaren, but that wasn't his main job here.
No. Maybe he concentrated on that too much.
Yes, indeed.
Fuck the direction.
Nick, do you want to talk about the script? No, I need to look in the mirror here and pretend I'm Malcolm McLaren. But the rest of the supporting cast are pretty much forgettable.
Well, apart from the dad.
Sorry, of course. And they'll Slaughter Joe. I'm sorry, Michael Sosha, if I'm pronouncing your name right. It wouldn't be this podcast if we didn't mispronounce surnames. No, he's very annoying in this film. I would note that there's a better telling of Creation Records out there in the form of a film. It's called Upside Down, the Creation Records story. It's from 2010. I don't know if it's on YouTube, but I was watching a bit of it. I won't tell you how, but it's worth a look if you're anyway interested. You're probably not at this stage.
No. I've seen enough of that shit.
And I would also like to mention Alan McGee is back in the game. Creation Records is back. It's not called Creation Records now. It's called Creation.
Jimmy McGee!
It's called Creation Management.
Right.
But he's managing an Irish band called the Clockworks, who are fucking really good. They're from Galway.
Oh, hold that against
So
them.
now, how about that for name dropping a hot city?
Why do you know them?
No, but I've heard their songs and they're decent.
Right.
They're like a mixture of
Spandau Ballet and
yeah.
and the Yes. That's quite a mixture.
Nah, they're good. They are good. Marks out of 5 for Creation Stories.
What did I give the last one?
Oh my god.
I told my brother Andrew.
What was the last one?
I wouldn't say that again, but I just said it.
What was the last one? Glue. We liked Glue.
What was Glue?
The book.
The last film we done was Ecstasy,
Oh god.
was it?
Was it?
Yeah.
No, Filth. Was the last film we
Filth.
did.
What did I give? I didn't mind Filth. Filth wasn't
Yeah,
good.
you gave Filth about a 3.5, something like that.
Yeah. Oh, this is getting a 1.
I have 2 written down here. I am questioning that though.
Why? What are you giving it to?
I
had... When you go through it, you get a different... After I watched it, it was real...
yeah. I've
Just
fucking gone through
now
it.
it's annoying me when I think about it. Whereas The Acid House, when I watched it, it was horrendous, but we went through it. It was brilliant.
But the Acid House didn't aim high. You
No,
know,
that's what I mean. I like them cheap shite ones.
Yeah, and I would watch the Acid House again.
Yeah,
certainly
definitely.
the fucking Bob the Fly bit. And
Yeah, well, I wouldn't...
Go Brags!
That's you and Bremner again.
Yeah, true.
We're starting to fucking form a pattern here. Yeah, I'm going to stick with 2 purely because there is good actors in it and I don't want to completely insult them.
But you're not insulting them, it's not their fault.
It's partly their fault, you know.
Well, no, but they're only giving shite to fucking talk about.
No, I know, yeah. But that's why I'm giving it 2. I'm giving it 2 for all of the good actors that were
2
in it.
was just a little
And
bit
some
below.
of the good music.
Just a little bit below average is 2.
Yeah, look, I'll go with
2.5 is
Just to be
50% of Stephen Stevens.
Just to be different from you, I'll go with 2. I suppose I could say a half out of 5 to be different from you, but I'll go with 2.
What if I go with a half?
If you're going with a half, I'll go with 1.
We'll go with that.
Okay, I'll write that down. I don't have a pen, I'll just pretend to write it down.
Yeah.
The listeners
Bite your
don't
finger
know.
and then get blood.
It's might have been good. Or could use other bodily fluids, I suppose.
Like that.
Like
It's
that,
cocaine from Prosperous.
Yellow speed. Couldn't afford cocaine.
Sorry.
So yeah, that's it, Jem. We've done it.
We've done it finally.
That's Creation Stories. I'll send it off to Alan McGee straight away. And
Debbie, don't forget Debbie and Jimmy.
and see what they think. What are we going to do next? Well, I suppose we need to...
I'm still on the way. I'm about half the way through Porno.
I thought you were finished then.
No.
Okay. Well, we won't
I am enjoying it though. It is good.
Good, yeah.
It's a good one actually.
Well, sure, maybe we'll just hop in the car and go up the north so we can get this weekend and watch
that's week by week job, is it?
I don't know. I need to look that up. That's the other thing for our... Well, I was going to say for our listeners, but by the time this comes out, it'll be over. But Irvine Welsh is actually doing a listening party for the first episode of Crime on Twitter tomorrow night at 8 p.m. That's Friday the 19th of November.
What the fuck is a listening party?
So you watch it. Sorry, when I say listening party, I'm going to say watching party.
Watching.
There is listening parties. Your man from the Charlatans does them all the time. So basically, everyone simultaneously listens to the album, you know, classic albums in some cases, and then tweets about it. They go, wow, this is fucking great, isn't it, Tim?
Tim, you prick. Why'd you make me listen to this?
So that's what Welsh is going to be doing tomorrow night. He's going to be watching the first episode of Crime and putting up stuff on Twitter about it. So if anyone's interested in that, you've missed it. By the time I get this out over the weekend, it'll have been over. But I might do that.
I won't.
So anyone on Twitter...
But sure, you can't even watch the thing. You're just going to be looking at it.
Maybe I can. I haven't fucking looked for a link yet. I haven't got in my car and gone up to the
yes.
and legally found the ways to watch this yet.
Just going to a pub and ask them, can they stick it on? What time's it on?
You can't fucking get it in the pub or anywhere.
What if they've got BritBox in the pub?
They won't. You can't get it in Ireland.
It's Northern Ireland.
Oh, you want me to go to a pub in Northern Ireland and ask them to put it on? Yeah. Will they ask me...
You'll have to buy a few points
if I like flutes or...
What sort of bar you're going into?
Well, I'm thinking of the Orange Man up there.
Alright, I thought you were something else. But either way, if you show a keen interest there...
I'm sure, yeah. Like when my sister tried to get Coronation Street put on down in the Kildrouth when Champions League was on.
How'd she get on with that?
Not very well. She was almost thrown out. No.
Well, I was probably thrown out because she was a woman.
Yeah, quite possibly. But no, we'll look into doing Crime maybe.
Oh yes, we will.
The TV show, not the verb.
Well, all right. Well, I'm not promising that. So then there's that book then as well, porno, crime, and so any other films we could do. Well, I still.
Yeah, Trainspotting 2 is based on porno.
Fuck it, so I have to do porno first.
Yes,
right. We have to put the book down on that.
And let's face it, chances of doing that now before Christmas are slim.
Porno or Trainspotting 2?
Porno. You're only halfway through the film.
The book.
Yeah. You can do porno anytime you want, just not here.
No, I'll put the boot down there.
Okay, well...
I had a few things on in the last month in fairness. I was away and all those
sure, with the Christmas and everything.
And a wedding and all that shit.
Yeah. Well, anyway, I'm sure the listeners are fucking thrilled to hear how the rest of our year is going to pan out.
But fucking, if they're listening at this stage, they can fucking listen. It's not our fault.
You listen, you fuckers, till the very end. Till we tell you to turn this off, you fucking listen, alright?
Then you can pull the stomach out of yourself, whatever the fuck you do, I don't care.
But listen, we're very grateful
for
our listeners, all 14 of you. And yeah, sure, why not say it? Give us a review, give us nice comments, tweets, shares, all that bollocks.
All that shit.
I'm starting to lose interest in Twitter now, I have to say. It's a very toxic environment.
You should get on well there.
There's a few, speaking of porno, there's a few like porn bots following me. You know, you think it's a sexy lady, but then it's some Russian guy who's using a picture of a dead girl from the 1960s.
I'm not even getting that. Send them on to me.
You don't want these as followers.
Why? What are they doing?
But nothing. There's no content. It's just a picture, and then it's like they want you to follow them back, and then somehow they'll be able to suck your money out of your inbox.
Oh, right.
You know what I mean? One of those things. I assume. I don't know.
They don't even fucking come near me.
It's very dodgy. But anyway, get off Twitter. It's horrible. I much prefer Instagram because then we can share pictures from of Alan McGee and all the other people from.
Is Instagram not for young people?
Sure, it's all for fucking young people. Podcasts are probably for young people.
I know, podcasts are for outfits.
Are they?
Yeah.
I suppose Eamon Dunphy does one.
Yeah, exactly, yeah. We're all right there.
Anyway, I think it's time to sign off. Gemma started laughing uncontrollably. So I think we will say good night and thank you for listening once again.
Oh yeah, great stuff.
And stay safe out there.
Rubber up.
In podcast land. Thanks for listening.
Thank you.
Bye bye.